Public, executive, what are we doing?
This is just a public special meeting,
Okay, with special person.
and we're ready.
Yeah.
It is 1:30 and it's time for a meeting with our Deputy Prosecutor, Willie the Half-Sprung Wilson, Esquire.
So guys, the reason that I asked that we have a meeting here is because Luke and I had talked about the possibility of me drafting a letter to be included with the materials that we will submit for the extension for the IDPR grant. And we just had some miscommunication about what that would entail. I also said that if I was going to be doing that on behalf of the board, that I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to weigh in, so it is an official, bill go forth and do this. My question, Luke, it's mainly, is the goal basically a factual recitation of the sequence of events that led up to where we are now? I mean, I just want to make sure I have clear expectations of what your expectations are.
That and the position that, yes.
Okay. So that the reason, my only hesitancy with that is that I think that you probably have that better than I do. I mean, I've been kind of course, part of the organization longer than you, so I've been watched that happen, but I wasn't necessarily involved in the day-to-day, the application process. That was Darcy. So I'm just trying to see,
I'm not even referencing that. What I'm referencing, Mr. Wilson, is partially that this has been done above board.
Right.
It has been done in an open meeting, and that there has been an MOU which was signed on, fully executed on May 22nd, 2023. I'm not asking to I'm not asking you to put your finger on the scale in regards to whether or not the prosecuting office supports the grant.
Okay.
But I'm looking, because there has been another representative from your office who has contacted the IDPR,
right,
to show that the prosecuting office also represents the Board of County Commissioners, and this is our position, and that the Board of County Commissioners is within their scope. I'm not asking you to say, this is perfectly legal, I support it, go ahead, run over the Fair Board.
Right.
But this is the position of the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay.
I have a few issues. Why are you now involved in the fair if Commissioner Omet had mentioned that there was a conflict of interest, which is what resulted in Attorney Bauer? That I have some confusion on that. And a letter of recommendation is essentially what this sounds like, which is not a legal scope. It is essentially doing a light way of saying an attorney has reviewed this without you actually doing a legal review, which is not, in my opinion, in the scope of what your function is. It would be one thing for you to do a recitation of, if you're looking at it from a legal view, but simply to say, I'm going to write you a note to the teacher about this, that doesn't seem reasonable.
I see some of that. One point, your first point about my involvement, this is a grant being sought that was originally sought by this board, and is now being an extension that's being sought by this board. And since I do represent you guys, I mean, I could see a role for myself in that capacity, not talking about the Fair Board at all, just talking about this board's capacity to seek the extension.
Doesn't the board do that by art of extension?
What's that?
Doesn't the request of the extension mean the board has requested the extension?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm.
Not the Fair Board.
No,
the Board of Commissioners.
The Board of Commissioners, right?
Yeah,
and that's why
the Fair Board has no authority to deny it, accept it, anything.
If I'm not being asked to give a legal opinion, then I'm not sure if this is the right vehicle for, I could do that, but if what you're asking is for me to say, or to reflect on, if everything was complied with open meeting law or something like that, that would be something I could do. I don't think that's been contested, though. Has anybody contested the fact that we adopted or we accepted the grant in open meeting, or that we are seeking the extension appropriately? I'm just not sure what.
The only legal
Nobody has
contention made
challenged
was
that.
someone from this office made a contention that there was a conflict of interest. That's the only thing that was stated. So if the board fills out a grant application, that is essentially the position of the board to request the extension.
Yeah.
You doing a letter that it has nothing to do with the legal scope doesn't make any sense to me.
What do you think, Luke? How do you respond to that?
The Office of the Bonner County Prosecuting Attorney has written a letter to the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation. So at this time, it would give the appearance and perception that the Office of the Bonner County Prosecuting Attorney is in opposition to the grant.
It's not accurate. It's a fair board. Fair board
It was
said
drafted by Scott Bauer, signed as
Well, then next time
Bon-
don't send an email to Bill Wilson and you wouldn't have got swapped out. You're trying
Commissioner
to
Williams, let me
delay.
know when I'm allowed to speak.
I quite frankly don't care if we just leave this meeting, but you're just asking to use
door's
his
right there.
initial. You're just asking him to initial a letter so that it gives the appearance as if he supports the position of an extension, and that's not what his function is. If you want him to do a legal review regarding this, that's different, but that's not what you're asking. So it's not appropriate. If you want to do the grant extension, submit the grant extension. That's the position of the board if you choose to move forward and do the extension request. Anything other than that is a way of saying, I had a doctor sign something, but they didn't sign something based on what their background is. It's just you're trying to say that because Bill is an attorney and he wrote a letter saying, yes, the board wants to do it, that it somehow makes it stronger, your position. But that is not Bill's function.
It is the determination of the Board of County Commissioners, not a single county commissioner, to engage with an attorney. And as an attorney representing the Bonner County Prosecutor's Office has weighed in on this matter, and I did speak with Mr. Wilson, and what Mr. Wilson told me, and I'm going to own it, I messed up. And he said, I need to bring it before the board, which is why I am bringing it before the board at this time, so the board could put a motion. I'm not asking Bill Wilson to say, I, Bill Wilson, support this grant. Lewis Marshall supports this grant.
Right. I'm not saying that you are.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, I think what we discussed was that you asked me, and still what I'm trying to drive to the heart out is, are you asking for essentially an opinion saying that the Board of County Commissioners is within its
That we have acted above board. That we-
Right.
That's it.
well, but that's not precise enough. You're saying just that the board has the legal right to request the extension. Is that's
Well,
the key?
and that everything that we have done through here has been done in open meeting. And also, there's a piece of it, I don't want you to get, I'm going to do the historical,
Okay.
I'm filing the extension, none of it. But we have complied with the law from the genesis of the grant application, which we could go back to 1927 if we want to go back that far, because that's how far I've been doing my research
Okay.
with the Kiwanis in regards to the Bonner County Fairgrounds. But that's not what I'm seeking. I am seeking something that says from the prosecutor's office that the actions of the Board of County Commissioners in the seeking of this grant through to the extension has been above board, and that the Bonner County Prosecutor's Office, to an extent, has been engaged, because the Prosecutor's Office, whether we like it or not, which I don't, has put its thumb on the scale. And the Bonner County Prosecutor's Office is the legal representative of the board. And it would be, in my mind, absolutely appropriate for the board to have the prosecutor's office weigh in saying that this has been conducted in an open and legal fashion.
Okay, that's when we talked about this before. That wasn't conveyed. So, I mean, I think that is within my ability to do. I just want to know if you guys all, or at least two of you, would like me to do that, then I can. I think it's just that's much more limited in scope than, I mean, essentially to say, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, it's my opinion that, that the board had the authority to and conducted properly the application process, that I can do all that. I just don't know if any of that's in dispute. Other than, I think, is any of that in dispute?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're going to argue with the person who, the grant, they already questioned whether or not this was appropriate. And so essentially what he's asking you to do, from listening to both of you exchange, which wasn't my conversations when I talked to you about it, he wants you to argue Bauer's idea and interpretation at the level of the grant. That's basically what you're going to be doing then. And so is that really what is appropriate for you to...
Is that essentially...
Because that's what it sounds like what you're doing then.
Like,
to write a different opinion than the one that was submitted regarding the planning portion.
I didn't think that's not what we... Because if I would have thought that this was to talk about legal advice or requests like that, I would have done this and asked for this as an executive session. But that's not what we talked about. But the problem is that's kind of where I see it leaning. Like there's been one opinion given by Scott, and you would like an opinion essentially rebutting that.
This is how this board always works. You get an attorney opinion, and when you don't like it, then you guys ask for another one. And in this case, that's essentially what you're doing, but you're doing it in front of the state, which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make...
I want to, my job is to support the board, right? And so if you guys ask me for a legal opinion, I will give it. I'm getting conflicting messaging because, like I said, when we first started talking about this, it wasn't about Scott and it wasn't about his opinion. It was about, I think what we talked about was the factual stuff. But now we've changed a little bit now.
Nope. Still the factual stuff. I think
you said you were going to do that.
Well, yeah, but what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
There's a difference between a commissioner doing it
Yeah.
and when legal counsel does it. Because you know what, the Fair Board didn't write that letter and submit it. It was submitted by Scott Bauer.
Right, but
So-
that was a legal. That was an opinion that rooted in the law, not fact. My point is that my job is, the facts better than I do at this point. Like you said, you've spent a lot of time researching and looking at the history of that. It's really not. I am in no better position to do that than you. If there is a legal question that you want me to analyze and include as part of our submission, then that's my job, and I will do it. But it doesn't sound like that's exactly what you're looking for.
Then that's why it's good that we have this.
Yeah.
Has the board done anything illegal?
No, I don't think you've done.
Then that's the letter that I'm looking for.
Okay. Then,
It doesn't make any sense. So, because really what this is Bauer wrote an opinion that says that the Fair Board creates their plan and submits it to the Board of County Commissioners. If no one has ever accused the board of doing anything illegal, so why would you write to
have
a...
on numerous occasions.
You're getting real close to where I actually file the paperwork for you. Because
Get your ass in there and file it. I don't give a shit.
I don't
You're
know
a
what-
lying, manipulative person. You've stirred up shit since you took office.
Bradshaw?
And if you want to argue with me, that's fine.
Bradshaw?
I don't care.
Bradshaw, I don't know what God you believe in, but you need to
I
rein
believe
that
in the one that you are against.
All right.
all right, guys.
That's what we came here for, so...
So don't threaten me. You're going to
I'm
hijack
actually
a
gonna go
meeting,
and
anything
file
like
it
that.
down.
You can run, you can hide, do
need
whatever
to
the hell it
hide.
is you do. You always get mad and get up and leave, so go.
All right, guys. I don't know.
I'm through babysitting you.
You don't babysit me, sir.
Yeah. I'm just trying to navigate through this, guys, as best I can. And look, if that's what you want, if that's what we've distilled it down to, it's just a very short and sweet statement saying the Board of Commissioners has acted within its purview and legally throughout this process. Yes, I can give that opinion. And as long as I'm not, if you're handling the factual stuff and I'm working on that, and that's on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, if you guys vote to nothing now to do that, then I feel like I'm following what you guys have asked me to do.
Perfect. Bill, I don't like sending apologies. I wrote you two. This is the third one that I put on the open.
I appreciate that.
That I put. Notice I didn't.
It's just really tough. I mean, like, you have to understand when
I do.
guy representing 3 people,
Well,
I have to be.
But you're representing one body.
That's it. 100%. But I need to make sure that I have
You have a majority.
I have a majority, and I've given each of you guys, even when it blows up like this, I have to
And
give everybody the opportunity to be a part of that process, however that looks. Unfortunately, this one didn't look great.
when I sent you the point, whether I liked it or not, saying that I believe you are correct about crossing your T's
Okay.
and dotting your I's,
Yeah.
which is why I went home and I did what I was told, and then I came back here and I spoke with staff, and I'm trying to follow the advice of legal counsel. I am perfectly capable of handling the politics.
Okay.
That's not what I'm requesting. But in my opinion, when a member of your office signs on the bottom line and inserts themselves into a grant process and requests something that the Fair Board has not done in one, or let's just say a couple decades, just creating out of whole cloth, because they're good at that, these new manipulations of statute, I think it is absolutely appropriate that the attorney for the board at least says they have operated within the law.
Okay.
We
That-
followed the proper process
Okay.
I mean,
I can.
from
I
its
can-
onset, beginning from the previous board. It has been followed with the
Okay.
T.
Yeah, that's.
Is that,
I do. Yes, I believe that that's. I do agree that this this board applied for the grant, had the authority to do so in an open meeting, and there's been no allegation that was inappropriate,
yeah, that's,
or that I guess they all bleed together. But and that also that your request for an extension is within the obviously within the authority granted to you by the state and in the grant terms itself, and that it's proper in that regard. So I can write that letter 100%.
I'm not looking, if you want to do a legal review, that's not what I'm asking. You don't have time. I'm not asking you to invest that much time. All I want is something permanent. Office of the Bonner County Prosecutor. Open meeting, done in accordance with law. They have the authority.
Okay.
Bill Wilson.
That's
And even-
what I needed to hear.
Is that appropriate?
Yeah, no, it is.
One thing I want to ask, is that appropriate?
Yeah, it is. I think. I mean, obviously, I'm your attorney. I represent you guys, and so if you ask me to give an opinion that's in support of an action that you take, then yeah, that's right within. That's my job to do that. So I'm happy to. And it just we had, how we got to this place was in a roundabout way. Like I didn't understand. We didn't have a meeting of the minds on what you were asking and what I perceived. And we also didn't have the chance yet to let the other 2 commissioners know what was happening, and we've accomplished that. So I guess with anything else, nothing else, if you guys want to go ahead and make your motion and second that, then I will have my marching orders. And one question, what is the timeline for, is your extension request already submitted?
No, I stopped. I emailed Tiffany Brunson yesterday because I'm trying to do it once and do it right.
Okay, so can you do your application and then I can supplement it with a letter? Do they all need to just have?
I would like to
those?
submit it all. I don't know. Like,
Well, how about what's the deadline? How about that?
we run out of the clock on the end of this month.
Oh, okay. I can.
But
yeah.
whoa. I want it as soon as possible.
Sure, absolutely.
And
do
I
that.
can-
End of the week. End of the week. I can do
Fantastic.
Perfect. Just the end of the week.
Great.
that. There you go.
Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to request Bonner County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Bill Wilson draft a letter to be included in the IDPR grant RV 23-1-09 extension request with Commissioner Luke Ahmed as the point of contact.
I'll step down from the chair and second that. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Ahmed?
Yes.
Commissioner Bradshaw?
Yes.
All right, fellas. I'm sorry that went badly. I wasn't trying to make it go there, but sometimes you can't
You can adjourn.
handle it all. So-
Okay, it is 1:50 and we will adjourn this meeting and we're done.
I'll get working on it.
Thank you.
We're done.
I just
We're
sent you
done
an
for
email.
10 minutes.